going to be talking about the history of the Me Too movement. And I do want to give a brief trigger warning because we will be discussing sexual violence throughout the presentation. So, what is the Me Too movement? It's a movement that aims to end sexual violence by bringing awareness to the survivors, to the stories of survivors, and empowering survivors to become community organizers against sexual violence. In their 2019 Impact Report, the movement said is all about ending sexual violence for everyone everywhere while prioritizing the needs of our most vulnerable and marginalized communities. Its founder, Tarana Burke, added that the movement is about healing survivors, supporting survivors as leaders, and centering them as organizers in community healing. Its current goals are to interrupt sexual violence, shift the dominant narrative, and use their framework to expand. So let's talk a little bit more about its founder, Tarana Burke. She founded the movement in 2006. She herself is a survivor of sexual violence, and she feels really strongly that her relationship with her own healing and other survivors has motivated her to start advocating. She recalls a specific event early on in her life when she was working at a youth camp, and a 13-year-old girl disclosed to her that she was a survivor of sexual violence. Unfortunately, Burke did not respond to this girl the way that she would have wanted to. She would have wanted to say, "Me too. I am also a survivor of sexual violence," but she didn't. Instead, she closed off, and this made her realize that maybe she hadn't been healing properly, and that what really made her feel better was talking to other survivors and knowing that she was not alone. This inspired her to start a movement that focused on youth survivors, especially those in marginalized communities. Although the focus was primarily on youth survivors, she soon saw that adult survivors really resonated with her movement. And in 2006, the movement was just a MySpace page and a couple of t-shirts. Their work was only well known locally, but not popular outside her community. For the next decade, the movement would receive multiple grants to fund its work and slowly grow its presence on social media. Now let's talk about Me Too, a viral campaign. In 2016 and 2017, a series of allegations against high-profile individuals were made, such as the Gretchen Carlson filing a harassment against Fox News head Roger Allies, and Uber employee Susan Fowler publishing an essay in which she described a toxic workplace where sexual harassment and misconduct occurred frequently, and Ashley Judge and over a dozen other actresses accusing Harvey Weinstein of sexual misconduct. In response to the ongoing allegations, actress Alyssa Milano asked survivors to tweet "Me Too." She wanted to bring awareness to how widespread sexual violence was. An estimated 12 million tweets were made, including the hashtag #MeToo, in only the first 24 hours. And the first year, over 20 million social media posts, including the hashtag #MeToo, were made. Survivors from all over the world share their stories. The impact of Me Too. On October 18, 2017, Olympic gymnast Michaela Maroney tweeted about the sexual violence that she experienced at the hands of Dr. Larry Nassara. This prompted over 150 survivors to come forward after reading her tweet. Within the first week, repercussions of the Me Too movement were being seen across multiple industries. On October 29, 2017, Anthony Rapp shared his story of unwanted sexual advances by Kevin Spacey. While the movement had primarily focused a lot on female survivors, this prompted more male survivors to come forward. On December 6, 2017, Time magazine named the Silence Breakers, those men and women who came forward to talk about their stories, as Person of the Year. On December 19, 2017, factory workers at a Ford plant go on record to speak about the sexual harassment they face at the workplace. On January 1st, 2018, Time's Up, a movement created by 300 female professionals aimed at ending sexual harassment and misconduct is announced. They also announced the Time's Up Legal Fund, which is basically a fundraiser to help other survivors with legal fees. On January 7, 2018, celebrities dressed in all black to show support of survivors, Time's Up, and the Me Too movement. Vogue also publishes a list that notes that over 200 CEO, politicians, and celebrities have been accused of sexual misconduct within the first year of the Me Too movement going viral. The Atlantic claims that in 2018 alone, Over 25 political campaigns were ended after allegations of sexual misconduct. And a study by New York Forum Tenham and Co. finds that 417 high-profile executives and employees have been outed since the movement went viral. But what about the Me Too movement in 2020? Well, they've been up to a lot. The movement has gone from a small community organization to an international movement and organization that has advocacy in many countries. It launched Me Too Voter, which aims to pressure political leaders to put forward real solutions to address, prevent, and eradicate sexual violence. It launched a college outreach program in hopes to change college rape culture and support college survivors. It is currently focusing on sexual harassment in the workplace and has prompted new hashtags such as #MeTooSTEM, which focuses on sexual harassment and misconduct in the STEM field. It is hosting the first ever Me Too Summit, where it aims to bring over 1,500 survivors all in one place to speak about their journey and their stories. It launched a national survey to encourage research and gather data on survivors of sexual violence. And Tarana Burke was one of the forces behind the documentary Surviving R. Kelly, in which R. Kelly's victims come forward and speak about their stories. She has also been a driving force behind the documentary about the Me Too movement. And to finish off, I want to share two important quotes from Tarana Burke that really spoke to me. The first one is, if you're a survivor who's feeling activated by this, there are organizations across the country that are doing this. Small organizations, local organizations. If you're compelled to do a thing, just do something. And last but not least, for those who feel like they're drowning in #MeToo, disconnect. Don't feel guilty about it. Do the work on your own pace. 6 months from now, if you want to say Me Too, it's there. It exists forever. Your story exists forever. And I wanted to share some resources with you. That's pretty much it. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. And if you have any comments, you have any thoughts, please comment below. And yeah, thank you.